Welcome to the Seahawkers podcast with your hosts, Adam Emmert.
All right, we did it. This draft class sucks.
And Brandon Schultz.
When have you ever seen a linebacker with a hyphen in his name have success?
Go Hawks!
This is episode 252 of the Seahawkers podcast. I'm Brandon Schultz of the Military Seahawkers. And joining me from the road, my good buddy, Montana Seahawker Adam Emmert.
You're welcome that I finally got around to this.
You've been a busy guy. I mean, flying all over the place, moving, having a new roommate move in. So I mean, that's a lot of work. Yeah. Oh, and I'll elaborate on that a bit in my do better section. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. But it's been a trip, both literally and figuratively. And almost 99% of it all good. Just busy, which is great. I mean, I can't complain. This just made it hard to sit here and talk about, things like who's in the best shape in Seahawks camp and what nonsense rumors have come up and what's the state of the franchise and why are all our rookies going to suck? Just the stuff that matters. I
especially want to get to why all our rookies are going to suck. But yes, we're going to cover all those things because this is an off-season show. And we got to find things to come up with, even in the offseason, because people want their Seahawks news, even if there is not very much of it going on. But OTA is finished up. We had 3 weeks of those, even if we had to look up what OTAs actually meant. And now we have minicamp. And I don't even there's no acronyms involved in minicamp. But I don't know how it's different from OTAs, except maybe they put pads on for minicamp.
Well, they have really small tents. It's a mini camp.
Oh, it's literal.
Yeah. Just like OTAs stood for something very literal.
Yeah. I would love
it. Somehow we got panned for not knowing that. Like, how do you not know that? OTA. I don't know. I never thought to look it up.
It happens once a year. We probably, if you go back and look at all of our off-season shows, we probably make the same OTA joke every year because we have to look it up every year. And we comment on the fact that we have to look it up.
I don't know that we have.
I don't know.
Yeah, we're not forgetful yet. We're old, but we're not forgetful yet.
It's just one of those things that you when you use it once a year, you have to look up how to do it. It's like when, draining your hot water heater. Like, do you know exactly how to do that every time? Or do you have to go to the internet and go, okay, here's the steps. Okay, gotta, flip this switch and turn off the electricity. And
have you actually drained your hot water heater?
I need to.
Who does that? Nobody
does that. You're supposed to do it once a year.
No, you ride and die with the hot water heater. You just go for it. You ride
just use it until it's kaput.
Yep. When the water's cold, it's time for a new one. Then you go tankless and you don't worry about it.
Well, we do have Seahawks stuff to talk about, Adam, and I want to kick it off by wishing the Seahawks franchise a happy birthday. Last week, June 4th, 1974. So they turned 45 this past week.
Yeah. Merry birthday to the Seahawks. That's great. Still here.
Yeah.
Thanks, Paul Allen.
Thank goodness.
Because apparently there was a time when they almost went to LA.
They did almost leave. And, it brings up, you mentioned Paul Allen's name, and with Jody Allen owning the team, there's a topic that I wanted to bring up along with that this week. But as we mentioned, OTAs finished up, minicamp starting. We heard from all of the coordinators, offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, special teams coordinator, and Brian Schottenheimer, Adam.
Yeah, unapologetic.
Run first team. That's going to happen. So if anybody, thinking that Shotty's going to change in the offseason, no, he's still a run first guy, apparently.
Well, I'm sure they're going to change things, right? There's going to be things that are done differently. I mean,
but the basic philosophy is the same.
Right. Which is what it's been since Pete's gotten here. So why would you be changing? Why would you be somebody you're not?
I guess this shouldn't be considered news. It's just an update.
It was news, though. It was news. You can't pay Russell Wilson all that money and keep the Ferrari in the garage, Brandon. You can't do that. You can't be really effective in the run game and then use your amazing quarterback to chew people up for large chunk splash plays. You can't do that in today's NFL. It does not compute to all the people that sit and, do the analytic nerdy thing. Like, you got to throw it 45,000 times a game. Otherwise, you can't compete. You can't be within under 10 points of beating the Rams in 2 games. You can't do it.
It's not
because
possible.
Their high flying offense. You can't keep up.
So if Russell Wilson is the Seahawks Ferrari, what does that make Rashaad Penny now that he's, all the hype surrounding Rashaad Penny coming out of OTAs?
I don't like it.
You don't like the hype?
I don't like it.
Why don't you like hype? Kris Carson got hype too.
You know why?
He's in the best shape. Kris Carson is in the best shape he's ever been in.
No, wait. You better characterize Kris Carson correctly. Kris Carson is in the best shape of anybody that's ever suited up for the Seahawks ever. Okay, it was somewhere in between there. He's in the best shape of all the Seahawks, apparently.
Right.
Because it matters.
Well, I try and keep apprised of who is in really, just the greatest shape ever, who's lost weight, who's gained weight. Right. It's really important. Shaquille Griffin lost, I think, 16 pounds since last season.
Yeah, he did. He's
under 200 now.
He's worried about turning into a baked chicken.
A lot of it is a lot of baked chicken. I can tell that, which is one of my favorite, but I feel like if I eat one more, I might turn into one at this point. So, no, but just watching the right things to eat.
That was a joke that fell flat, like very hard in the press conference.
I don't blame him. Well, look, here's the thing. I do not believe Shaq Griffin has children yet. Uh-huh. And so when you attempt dad jokes without children, they don't work.
Oh, I don't know. I could probably use that. No, I probably couldn't use that one around kids. That wouldn't even go over.
No, yeah, you have to set it up a little better. He's working on it. That's all I'm saying. He's got a ways to go.
I feel like the press conference isn't the time to introduce your dad joke comedy. Like, you should workshop it with like nieces and nephews first. So
you should just be there so you don't get fined?
Right.
Okay, but let's talk about Penny for a second.
Okay.
All right. So we got his press conference, right? And I listened to all his press conference, and this is why I wasn't stoked about it. He's up there talking about how he had to learn how to be a professional. Like it took him a whole year, and that his finger held him back for the whole year.
Okay, those are two things to be concerned about.
I don't like that.
It's because I think when I was listening to Michael Sean Duggar talk about it, about when guys say they have to learn how to be a professional, it mainly means learning how to eat the right things and do things like go to work on time.
Right.
Which, those are things that you should probably have figured out as an athlete in college, right?
Well, you'd think so. But then again, we got to remember these are millennial athletes. And maybe those are high bars that I wasn't aware were high bars.
Yeah.
So I'm a little concerned about that. And like, for example, Kris Carson gets drafted in the 7th round a couple years ago. Does he need like a whole year to learn how to be a professional, or was he like good out of the gate?
He was pretty good out of the gate.
Yeah. Until he got hurt. Like, it's not because he had to quote unquote learn how to be a professional. Go to work, do the work. This isn't a complicated formula. Like, you have to call Marshall Faulk and like be like, so what the hell is it that I have to do? No, you just go to freaking work. That's what coaches are for.
Well, okay, that's interesting that you bring up Marshall Faulk, and it's because they both went to the same college, San Diego State, which is, I think, why he's reaching out to Marshall Faulk. That makes sense to me. I don't want to be too hard on the guys learning how to be a professional, because I think there are certain things. You brought up the fact that Kris Carson got hurt in his rookie season. There's things that the veterans do, like getting massages, doing the cold tubs, doing, all those different things that I think maybe younger guys, when they're in college, they probably don't have to worry about doing, because they just go out there and play, go home. And yeah, they might do the fast food stuff and not quite eat right. But I think there are probably some things that you don't do in college that you do have to do as a professional. That is part of learning how to be a professional.
All right, let me poke a bunch of holes in that right quick. So you're trying to tell me that all of these amazing facilities that all these enormous colleges have, like Alabama, have you ever seen the video of their facilities?
Okay, but Rashaad Penny went to San Diego State.
Right, which is still a leap above the Montana Grizzlies, right? They're a 1A program.
Okay.
Have you seen the Montana Grizzlies facilities? There are really nice cold tubs. They have massage therapists and chiropractors on staff for you to use whenever it is that your little heart desires. Like, this isn't like, it's not like they're reinventing the wheel. Like when they show up, I think the hardest thing, this would be the one area that I would give them some credence.
Okay.
And that I have to learn how to be a professional, is that your national stature has gone up a bunch. And so you're recognized in public more. You have to be in front of the media more, and you have to do a lot of charity events, those sort of things. And those are all great things. And I'm not saying like it's some burden or anything, like especially the charity stuff, right?
Yeah.
But I would imagine that's an adjustment to lifestyle.
For sure.
As opposed to, oh, I'm a little sore today. Maybe I'll sit in a cold tub. Or, I don't know, maybe I'll get a massage, like every other day because it's better for my deal. Or, I don't know, maybe don't eat McDonald's every day. And even still, when you come into the league and you're sub 25, I don't think it freaking much matters if you're eating baked chicken or Big Macs. Like when you're that young, it just goes through you. Like you just use the energy and you're good, especially for as much energy working out that they put in.
Yeah, you might not want to do it every day, but you probably don't even need to go as far as Shaquille Griffin is in saying he has a cheat meal once a week.
Right.
Like I feel like you could have a couple cheat meals a week and you'd still be okay.
Well, Tom Brady disagrees, but it definitely does play a larger factor as you get older.
There's an age gap there.
Right. Well, I'm just saying, maybe if you start earlier, then you go further.
Maybe.
You know what I mean? Like, maybe that's what the players catch on. I think the other big thing that, learning to be a professional that I would have some sympathy for is the idea that the season is so much longer and that it is your full-time gig. Like, I could see that.
Well, another way of being a professional, too, might be like how Shaquille Griffin talked about changing his mindset in terms of going into last season and thinking that he had to get so many interceptions. That he needed to make a play every time he was out on the field rather than being in the right position on any particular. Yeah, just doing your job rather than trying to accumulate stats. And that's where he kind of, after he evaluated his 2018 season, said he graded out, he thought average to below average. And now he's going into this 2019 season with a very different, more team-focused mindset and maybe even a leadership-focused mindset.
Yeah, and I think that's great. I mean, he has the personality to do that. And hopefully he brings along Trey Flowers with him. And that whole secondary as a whole grows together in that way because they all are, short of McDougald, very young. And so, yeah, we're going through some bumps and bruises, but it didn't take, it took Cam a couple years to become a leader. Earl's always was kind of the quiet guy. Sherman never really had a problem just running his mouth and taking charge. But they also had some veterans during that time with Red Bryant and, Chris Clemens, guys like that. And, you don't have a lot of that on this defense. Short of the linebackers. Everybody's looking to Bobby Wagner. And, right now, bless his heart, he's there. Thank goodness. But, that's probably something that's missing is having him on the field. Even though Cody Barton is the next Bobby Wagner replacement. And then the other white linebacker that you group together, Cody Barton, Ben Burkervin. That's all one name. It's all hyphenated.
It's one guy. Yeah. They're interchangeable.
So, who knows?
Although Ben Burkervin had, I guess, that sports hernia surgery that everybody's getting. It's all the rage. The sports hernia surgery.
You haven't had one?
Well, I'm not an athlete.
3 last week.
If I were an athlete, I would get one tomorrow.
Yeah. It's basically Tommy John's for your groin.
I guess. That's kind of the impression that I'm getting from it, though.
Yeah. Yeah. You come back stronger from the Tommy John's, right? Like throwing the ball.
From the description of it, it sounds like it's not a groin thing. It's a core thing.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Where are the doctors?
Not a doctor. Do we need to get Dr. David Chow back on the show to explain?
Probably, because I'm just staying at a Holiday Inn right now. I'm no doctor.
Well, Bobby Wagner is due to get a contract extension, and they're still working on it.
Yeah, I know. It'll get done when it gets done. They're not letting him out the door.
I feel like it's going the way it's supposed to be. The fact that he doesn't have an agent is why there's not constant news reports on it. And
it turns out he's got other catfish to do.
And Bobby's probably not a guy who cares to be, all that, get all that word out in the media.
No, he doesn't. He doesn't need to air the laundry publicly. And
plus, like we've talked about, this is going to be easy. Is he the best linebacker in the league? Yes. Okay. You pay him.
Yeah.
And people complaining about, or there's something strange going on. And I don't know if it's just on Twitter or if it's, in Seattle sports media, but maybe just the time of year. I don't know. But everybody's still trying to project ahead to the 53-man roster and saying, well, guys like Barkevious Mingo are gonna make too much, so you might consider them being a cut so you can save against the salary cap. Doron Brown, if he gets cut, you might be able to save a little bit under the salary cap. The Seattle Seahawks are almost at $30 million under the cap right now. Why are you cutting guys to save $1 million, $2 million right now when you're that far beneath the salary cap?
And, that's a long ways ahead, even though it's like a month, but it's a long ways ahead. And it just relax everybody. Yeah. We've talked about this for years. The salary cap is magic and John Schneider is a wizard and it's going to be fine. We just paid Russell Wilson as the highest quarterback or the highest paid player in all of football. And somehow the entire franchise didn't burn to the ground. I find it hilarious that somebody like Carson Wentz gets real close to the same contract, because let's talk about guarantees, right? Because that's what matters in a contract. They're within $500,000 of each other, and everybody's like, wow, what a smart move. What a smart move getting Carson Wentz in there right now. And it is a smart move. I'm not saying it's not a smart move.
It's a smart move for Carson Wentz, too, considering his health history.
Yeah.
If I were continually getting injured every season, I would want to get a big payday as soon as possible, too.
Absolutely. And not only that, but the Eagles get him, locked in now instead of 2-3 years down the road as the salary continues to rise, with all the other quarterbacks.
Well, yeah, because once Jared Goff makes more money than Russell Wilson, then Carson Wentz is going to say, I want more money than Jared Goff.
Well, it won't be the Los Angeles Rams that pay him that money.
I guarantee you the Los Angeles Rams. If you listen to Sean McVay just go on and on about how great Jared Goff is, you can't tell me that the Rams aren't going to way overpay for him. Unless I heard Mike Florio bring up a theory that's super crazy, and that McVay's talking up Jared Goff so high that Jared Goff's going to ask for a contract so big that the Rams actually have to turn him down. That's next level thinking right there. If that's what's going on.
That's overthinking. That's overthinking. Sean McVay, that's his quarterback right now. So he's going to talk him up like every coach talks up his quarterback, right? In the moment. And then when it comes time, he can get Nick Mullins to go in there and do Jared Goff things. He could.
He probably could, but I don't think they are. I think he's going to want to overpay Jared Goff.
Well, that's fine. Do that. I love the way they overpaid Todd Gurley. And now they're going to overpay Jared Goff. This is all going to work out great for the Seahawks.
Part of me is worried about the Seahawks underutilizing their salary cap, though. When I see that $28 million and the fact that they didn't go after Gerald McCoy, they don't seem to be. I don't think
he had any interest of not playing in the South.
I don't think so either. But I think a big enough paycheck probably would have brought him up here. I also think that they probably want to get Jaron Reed and Bobby Wagner done before they make any other big deals.
Yeah.
But, McCoy would have been a nice piece to have. But the one thing that I am curious about, because of the change in ownership of Paul Allen to Jody Allen, because you don't have to spend up to your salary cap. You can come in underneath it and you can keep that as profit as an owner. Mm-hmm. And so the budget, it could have changed for the Seahawks, and I'm kind of curious to see how that plays out.
It's an interesting theory. And
I'm just curious. Are they going to continue to be a team that spends right up to the salary cap like they did the past few seasons? Or are they going to, is the budget going to be a little lower?
I see where you're going with the idea of you don't have Paul Allen's money, right? And so maybe you have to be a cheaper franchise. I understand that concept. Do you think Paul Allen didn't leave enough money behind?
Oh, no, I think he did.
Okay.
He's not controlling it now.
Okay. So the difference being is the last few years, the Seahawks had well-developed stars that they paid large, right? And went after Sheldon Richardson, tried to get those last couple pieces to go for it, which I love. I'm glad they did that. I really am. And then they said, okay, look, all these guys are getting hurt. We got to move on. Some guys are forced to retire, all that stuff. And now you have a young team, and now you're way under the salary cap because you have a young team. It's not because they're cheap. It's not because they're not willing to spend the free agency money. But why would you go out and spend big dollars on a guy who's longer in the tooth that you look at and you go, is he really an upgrade over what we got? I don't think you do that. You let the young guys develop. That's what Pete Carroll's mantra has always been.
Sure. And so I think the telling thing will be is if Jarran Reed gets paid or not. Because if they decide to pay Jarran Reed or don't decide, or if they decide to let him walk, then that could be an indicator of whether there's a new budget or whether they're willing to go up against the salary cap.
I don't think signing Jarran Reed is going to be because of budget constraints or not signing him, because of budget constraints. It's going to be because they have a number in mind for his skill set and what his actual value is. And they're going to go up to that. And if it's more than that, then they're not going to overspend. They're not just going to pay a guy just for the sake of paying a guy. He had one great season. One.
Sure. Yeah.
Tough to break the bank off of one.
Oh, I'm not saying that they need to break the bank either.
Well, it's going to be a good sized contract.
I'm just saying that could end up being an indicator.
I don't know that it is.
Okay.
Here's the thing. All these, the NFL, all the owners, it's $1 billion freaking industry. They're all fine.
My point is a $10 million difference. I guess it's just going to be hard to discern of whether or not, if the Seahawks have a $196 million salary cap and they come in at $186 million, are they looking to carry that over, or are they looking to keep that or is the franchise as a whole looking to set that aside and keep it as profit? I guess we really won't know for sure until a couple years down the road, until we go, oh, hey, they're coming in consistently, $10 million under their salary cap, whereas they were spending right up to it in previous years. So I guess it's one of those things that you just can't know.
You think Pete Carroll and John Schneider are going to allow the Seattle Seahawks to become the Browns of years past?
$10 million isn't. I mean, that's not spending on one big. That's not going out and getting Sheldon Richardson. That's not.
I think it's all about preserving the cap. It's about paying the players the appropriate contract. Like, here's something that totally dispels what you're thinking here. If they were worried about the budget, why in the world would they make Russell Wilson the highest paid player in the history of football?
Why not pay Russell Wilson, Bobby Wagner, and Frank Clark when you're still in a position with the salary cap to pay all those guys?
Why? Because you can flip Frank Clark into 11 draft picks and be better off when it's all said and done. It's still pay Bobby Wagner, pay Jarran Reed, and everything's good.
Really, all they did was Frank Clark was a swap for LJ Collier. They traded all those draft picks with what they had for the most part.
Okay, fine. You can poo-poo taking that extra one that they got and flipping it into a couple other picks and doing all that. They basically made that 5 picks. Plus, they didn't have to pay Frank Clark all that money, a guy who has 2 bad elbows.
Hey, I'm not saying it's not a bad decision. I'm saying it could be indicative of where they could save money.
I think it's all football related and not money related, unless it's just talking in terms of the cap.
Yeah.
Because you can only spend so much. That's why. It's not because they're not willing to, because, new ownership wants to, Jimmy Haslam it and pocket a bunch of extra money.
I think they have to spend 89%.
There's a floor.
Of the, there's a salary cap floor. Yeah. But owners can keep that money in between, and there's owners that historically have, and I think you're bringing up some of them. But
Bidwells.
Oh, bless you.
Yeah, sorry. I saw a cardinal fly by my window, and it just came out.
Well, the Seahawks, looking at the 2019 season, Adam Rank of NFL.com, he did kind of a look back to the 2018 season. I think we can skip over that. We know what the highs and lows were of 2018 and kind of looking ahead to 2019. And bold prediction here, Adam. Adam Ranks projected 2019 MVP for your Seattle Seahawks. Russell Carrington Wilson.
He's such an idiot. We all know it's going to be Michael Dixon. Come on.
Yeah, well, I know special teams love.
What is he coming out and predicting Russell Wilson? Are you kidding me? That guy's a scrub. It's going to be the long snapper. It's going to be Tyler Ott.
2019 breakout star, Trey Flowers.
It's a fair prediction.
I think so.
Get to the end. Get to the end of the article. That was the fun part.
The very end?
Yeah.
For a team that has won as much as they have recently, the Seahawks sure do seem to sort of fly under the radar as teams like the Rams get all the attention. Let them have their moment. But make no mistake, the Seahawks need to be taken seriously as a Super Bowl contender.
And he ain't wrong.
Yeah. I like how he closes that out.
That was the best part of the article. I mean, other than him like risking it all and predicting Russell Wilson as the MVP of the team.
It was a bold move.
All right. Since we're making fun of Adam Rank about his prediction for the MVP of the Seattle Seahawks this year.
Yeah.
Who would you choose other than Russell Wilson? Or no, better yet, who is your MVP? And let's see if you have any more balls than he does.
Well, number 2 would be Bobby Wagner.
Well, duh.
If you're going to pick somebody who's not Russell Wilson, you go Bobby Wagner.
Right.
Now, if you're going to go dark horse, I mean, you could pick one of the running backs.
See, if I pick Kris Carson.
Yeah.
Yeah. Rashaad Penny still doesn't get it, which is fine. And Kris Carson's awesome. He's going to have 3 full frontal flips this year that he sticks. He's going to shrug them all.
He did one last year, and now he needs to go for 3.
Doesn't need to. He's just going to do it because he can. Because he's awesome. Yeah. MVP.
See, I liked Steve Davies on Facebook. He piggybacked off of Adam Rank's prediction that Russell would be MVP. And Steve said, I predict they will play at least 16 games this year.
Yeah, right in there. It's a solid prediction.
If you're going to predict Russell Wilson as team MVP,
yeah,
it's a solid prediction as that.
Sure. What if DK Metcalfe is the team MVP this year? Because he is lighting it up. He's amazing.
Is he?
He's going to be the best ever.
I don't know. I saw Michael Shaw Dugard tweet out DK Metcalfe running a route in practice. And you should have seen this Twitter thread, Adam, because I think the comment was DK Metcalfe, runner of routes. And it was just DK Metcalfe running a basic comeback route. And everybody crushed his route running ability on this one route. So he's going to be terrible. He can't run routes.
I've been watching football for a really long time. I still have a hard time getting a straight answer from anybody as to what makes a good route runner.
Yeah.
I've asked multiple receivers from the Seahawks, tell me what goes into being a good route runner. And they all hem and haw around.
Right.
So some Twitter warrior, because number one, did it happen on Twitter?
It did.
Then it doesn't matter. So there's that. And then 2, even the guys that are doing it can't even articulate what goes into a good route.
Well, part of the criticism was that he took too many steps coming back to the ball as part of the route, but he didn't turn around and the ball was there. So I think part of that goes to the quarterback. So if you don't turn around and the ball isn't there, then don't you want to come back to the ball so a dude doesn't jump in front of you?
So then if you took more steps to come back to the ball, then you ran a good route.
I feel like that would make more sense. But, I'm not an expert route runner either. So I'm
just saying, anybody that sits there and tries to pretend like they know, exactly what goes into being an awesome route runner, then catfish you.
But,
you know it when you see it.
Sure.
Like Doug Baldwin, awesome route runner, right? And some of it, what I've gathered is just the receiver just having the wherewithal, with everybody else running around him to know, all right, it's man or zone. Do I sit down here? Do I continue on? It's a lot more of that than it is how many steps you take coming in and out of a break. I mean, to a degree, right? They're all professionals, so they're all good at it right. They're not taking 45 steps. But, if you take one extra step than Antonio Brown, you're not awful.
There's probably lots of things to look at, footwork coming off the ball at the snap, but where you make your break. But the thing is that it's a route where he wasn't even going up against a corner. So why are we? And you know what? It's June. It's the end of May or June, whenever that route was run. And it's one route.
Nope. That tells you everything you need to know.
I feel like it's a little bit early to go and just critique one player based on a one shot of Twitter video.
Really? That's amazing. I would have never thought of that.
I'm going to at least hold out to preseason, but I know I do want to get to this list of why all these guys are going to stink. And I think we've covered it for DK Metcalfe. He's going to stink because of one Twitter video that shows that he has no ability to run routes.
That and concentration drops, right?
Does he have a lot of concentration drops?
That's what I've heard.
We'll throw that on there, too.
Yeah, sure. He'll stink. Unless he's awesome, but whatever, fine.
Well, it could be, but I feel like we've focused way too much on the positive this offseason. We need to get more.
And I like this. I like this exercise you're about to go through, like why all these rookies are going to stink. Because I don't know, have you been reading like Rams, like all their reports, Niners, all their articles, Cardinals, all the local media following of that? Like all the reports sound exactly the same. Well, this guy's 15 pounds lighter. This guy's running faster than ever. This guy has really taken the leap this year. I mean, we hear it like in every single camp. And so I love this exercise.
Every draft pick is going to be awesome. That's what you hear up until they stink. And because we know historically that not every draft can be the Seahawks 2011, 2012 drafts. There's some 2013 and 2014 drafts in there where, there's one or two guys that are maybe good. Kind of. Yeah. And the rest move on and don't do much of anything. So, I
do believe in this draft class, but I like the ironic twist on this. So, yeah, let's do that.
Well, LJ Collier, I think we've talked about this before. Lance Zierlein, NFL.com, says he's not a natural knee bender. And, if you can't bend your knees, how are you going to rush the passer?
So, little known fact about LJ Collier. He didn't come out of the womb head first. He came out feet first. And not only that, but his legs were stiff as a board because he's not a natural knee bender.
Not a natural knee bender. But
it's like he's going down a water slide.
And he did only have one season as a full-time starter. So if we want to get into the realistic ones, there's some risk there.
Yeah, definitely.
Marquise Blair, the one thing that stands out to me, ejected 3 times over the last 2 years for targeting in college. And I feel like there's a suggestion there that he's kind of a loose cannon.
Yeah, loose cannon.
He's like the John McClane of safeties.
That's great. I mean, who do you want when your building gets taken over by German bad guys?
Marquise Blair.
That's exactly who you want. You want him to target every one of those catfish first. That's what you want. But no, that's why he's going to suck. He's going to be terrible because of that.
Cody Barton.
Is it because of the generic name?
Actually, a generic name tends to favor linebackers.
Brian Urlacher?
Well, that's not a generic name.
Okay.
But what about Thomas Davis?
I guess Ray Lewis isn't exactly breaking the mold.
No, Bobby Wagner.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
As a linebacker, you want to have a generic name. I would, for that fact, I would pick Cody Barton over Ben Burke-Irvin. When have you ever seen a linebacker with a hyphen in his name have success?
Oh, that's a really good question. I feel like I should be able to pick one out off the top of my head, but I can't. Can't do it.
Can't do it. The Seahawks did have Kevin Pierre-Louis, and he did not succeed.
No, he did not.
So Seahawks track record so far 0 for 1 at hyphenated last name linebackers.
Okay.
So maybe they're due.
No, we're doing a list of why they're going to fail. Now we know why Ben Burke-Irvin's going to fail.
I will try not to be optimistic at all. Ben Burke-Irvin.
Why's Cody going to fail?
Because according to Lance Zierlein, his movement is a little lumbering and also lacking twitch.
The dreaded lack of twitch.
When you think of positions,
that's the funny thing about these scouting reports. Like when you're sitting on the subway, you want to sit next to somebody with twitch.
Do you want a linebacker with twitch? What positions is twitch important?
Slot receiver?
Yeah. Any receiver position, really.
Yeah.
What else? Where else do you need twitch? I think on the defensive line, twitch is helpful.
It is and it isn't, though. Otherwise, you could be Michael Bennett and just offsides all the time because you're twitchy.
Running back, you want twitch?
Yeah. Or you want them to just bowl people over.
Okay.
I prefer my running backs to lay the hammer down rather than twitch around things. Yeah.
I think we all know that.
The twitch running back I really loved was Barry Sanders.
Emmitt Smith had a little twitch.
No, he did not.
A little bit.
None. He had some big offensive linemen who were the best of their era in front of him for the majority of his career. That's what happened to him.
Look, even Marshawn Lynch, for a guy who bowled people over, he had some twitch.
Yeah.
Little sidesteps that he could do.
Yeah. Okay.
Don't just, okay me.
I just did. Eat it.
I don't think it's important for a linebacker to have twitch, but Cody Barton has no twitch, and so he's going to stink at playing linebacker.
True fact.
Gary Jennings. I guess he actually made it out on the field for minicamp this week.
Yeah. Hamstrings are a bugger, man.
But all his chunk plays were created by scheme in college.
Well, that's a bummer because if I know one thing about NFL teams, they don't scheme anything.
Nope.
No
scheme in Seattle. He will stink.
None. Nope. None in LA. That McVay guy doesn't do catfish.
They have a scheme in LA?
No, they don't scheme in. They don't do it in the NFL. They don't.
I feel like McVay, there's some running theme in the media about him being a genius or something, but maybe that doesn't have to do with scheme.
No, he's handsome.
Oh.
And he's in LA. Oh, and I don't know if you knew, Brandon, but football really has to work in LA.
Can it be the Chargers?
Yeah, it can be them too.
I'd be okay with it being them.
Somebody in the Ring of Honor posted a great picture of like an NFL article that NFL.com article.
It was Tom Brady, Ezekiel Elliott, and then a Ram and a Charger.
Yeah.
And I think those were, and maybe was Aaron. Oh yeah, Aaron Donald was the Ram probably. Was there one more player?
They probably had like 5 Chargers on there and 17 Rams.
Yeah. Phil Haynes, he's probably going to stink, even though he's working with the first team offense in practice with Upati out. He might lack desired lateral foot quickness for recovery when beaten.
Well, and the reason for that is he wears too many knee braces. I think he wears 4.
That's a lot of knee braces. How many knees does he have?
I think he really only wears 2, but it looks like 4. But that's why he's going to fail.
Well, I think maybe without the braces, you could have more lateral foot quickness.
You could, and then you could blow out all the CLs. So would you rather have a little bit more lateral, quickness or knees?
How much lateral movement do you need as a guard?
Depends on how much you're pulling. I don't know.
Yeah, maybe.
I don't think you need a lot of twitch there.
I also like the qualifier that he might lack it. Like he didn't quite watch enough tape. I watched a few plays. He might lack it. He might not.
What I do enjoy about that is the idea that nobody can evaluate an offensive line, like in the media, like me included. It's okay.
Well, I think that's why you get guys like, well, even defensive line is hard to evaluate too. DeMarcus Christmas
has too much cheer.
He didn't have a whole lot of negatives, but in the strengths, it says above average size and overall mass. You know that if they're just evaluating based off of size, that they're probably not very good.
I mean, the big criticism, right, was he's an underachiever. He was like a highly touted prospect and then didn't do too much.
He was supposed to be a top, 3 round type of guy.
Yeah.
And he fell to the 6th round.
Yeah.
Travis Homer, his field vision appears filtered through a straw.
That's a new draft evaluation right there.
I thought that was really interesting, that our potential running back is almost legally blind.
True, but it might not be the worst thing. Just go put your head down and, get 2 yards.
Well, and that's what it says. It says quick to duck his head and bull forward when he has no clear point of entry. But isn't that kind of what you're supposed to do?
Well, that's what I do when I have no clear point of entry.
Yeah, that's what everybody does. It's
just bull forward.
Standard procedure.
All good. Yeah. So he has tunnel vision.
Straw vision.
That's even worse than tunnel vision.
I know. I think it's more narrow.
Oh, okay.
We covered Ben Burkervin, but I did like that it said that he's a tackle zombie.
Oh, okay. I think that's good.
Yeah, it says tackle zombie with 94 solo stops as a senior. It is listed as a strength, but tackle zombie.
I bet you that writer, his wife doesn't get great compliments either.
Well, where I could see it being a strength is, I guess, how zombies are focused on brains. Ben Burkervin is focused on tackles.
Okay. I like how you tried to put that together for that poor, sad man. Good job for you.
Now it makes sense.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, all the sense.
Ugo Amadi. I heard some people commenting on this among the media about how he has a very different type of build than a lot of guys. This says below average height with a top heavy build. So again, it's kind of pointing to his physical stature as to why he's going to stink.
So he's the opposite of a Weeble Wobble?
Yes. He's an upside down Weeble Wobble.
Oh, yeah, that seems bad.
But about the height.
Yeah. So a short anti-Weeble Wobble. That's Hugo Amadi.
One of the things that was interesting coming out of Pete Carroll's press conference was hearing him, because everybody's kind of talked about, they kind of see him as the Justin Coleman type replacement. But Pete Carroll specifically said that he evaluates as a free safety. Like based on all his numbers, they drafted him because of how he's built as a free safety, apparently.
I see. Okay. All right.
And then we got John Ursua, our 7th round draft pick. He is slow to get catch ready, allowing the ball to beat him up.
So he needs to do better kung fu fighting against the ball. Is that basically what I'm hearing here? Does he need to take some ball jujitsu?
Can't let the ball beat you up.
I don't know, man. I kind of like what I see out of him. He could be our slot receiver. I know all the Hawaii people are fired up.
I brought on, I read that guy from that guy's Reddit review.
Yeah.
He has me all hyped up on Ursua.
Yeah. Which is what, a half a step up from Twitter, Reddit?
Yeah, I think so.
Okay.
Because I feel like if it happens on there, it might matter.
Maybe, possibly, somehow. Yeah.
Hey, if Ursua ends up being good based on a Cardinals fan who is a graduate of University of Hawaii is hyping him up, then I will divert more attention to Reddit. And I think we all should.
Fair. And I won't, but I will not poo-poo it next time you bring it up.
All right.
We did it. This draft class sucks. Guys can't bend knees. Dudes are like, have no twitch. They get beat up by balls. Nobody wants to get beat up by balls.
Out of all these draft picks, who is going to be the biggest disappointment, though, do you think?
Oh, it'll be DK Metcalfe. And not because he does a bad job this year. Like, he'll probably do as well as he should as a rookie.
Like 400, 500 yards?
Yeah, like 30 catches, maybe, something like that, right? 2 touchdowns. And like everybody will call him a bust and everybody will be all mad about it because expectations are through the roof. And that's the only reason I say DK Metcalf is just because the level of expectation is so high.
What do you think that he has to do to break that? Because if he has a season where, and maybe he doesn't play on special teams like Tyler Lockett did, but even if he has a receiving season that's somewhere between Tyler Lockett and Doug Baldwin, who had an amazing rookie season for an undrafted player, if it's between those two, do you think people are going to still say that it's a bust?
Yeah, he's going to have to be Randy Moss.
So he has to break 1,000 receiving yards.
Yeah. Before people will be like, well, yep, told you. Like, he's just a one-trick pony because say he gains 400 yards and most of them are go routes. That's not going to fly in the eyes of the media.
Well, I don't even think you have to say media. I think you can say fans.
Yeah. Oh, and the fans too. Absolutely. That's the only reason why I pick him. And I'm not saying that that's a bust, him having that kind of season. I'm not saying that's a bust. I'm saying that'd be a good season for him as a rookie. Like that's where my expectations are because I'm a realistic human freaking being. But that's not how everybody else is looking at it.
Okay, Doug Baldwin had 51 catches, 788 yards, 4 touchdowns his rookie season.
Yeah,
that's pretty good.
If he comes in at that or slightly under it, he'll be labeled a bust still.
Okay,
unless he has an OBJ kind of catch, one of those things like something that looks real good on a continuous loop on a highlight reel and it gets an SB. He could have one of those and maybe not get labeled a bust, but
I think you're onto something here. But I wouldn't be sad if he had a Randy Moss type year and broke. Well, I don't know. There's not very many receivers that have breaking 1,000 yards except for Doug Baldwin in the past 4 years. So I think 1,000 yards is a pretty high expectation level for a receiver.
Well, and not only that, but you got to take it in the context of this offense.
Yeah.
I mean, Brian Schottenheimer comes out and he's like, no, we're going to run the ball. We're going to run it again. We're going to run down your throat. And I don't care if you don't like it. So that's how it's going to be. There's just not a lot of targets.
It does bring up the question, though, of who's going to be the number 2 guy, because I feel like everybody's sold on Tyler Lockett being the number 1 guy, especially after his performance last season. But now, whereas I felt really good about the receiving core when you had Doug Baldwin, Tyler Lockett as 1 and 2, now you have Tyler Lockett and you have a number of guys for number 2, whether it's Doron Brown, DK Metcalfe,
Gary Jennings,
David
you have
Moore.
Ursua, get David Moore. There's even more Keenan Reynolds. You hear the coaching staff likes to leak things out to let you know what they're going to kind of try to start with, so that they're setting expectations for you.
Yeah,
and it's Doron Brown.
I think you're right there. It wouldn't be that hard to believe, really, based off his performance last season. They just didn't throw it to him a whole bunch last season.
Yeah.
I feel like he's kind of in that Jermaine Kearse category. Like when you throw it to him, he catches it, and he's there to kind of block in the run game. He can maybe break out this season
as much as you can in the Seahawks passing attack. You can't judge the Seattle Seahawks receivers based on the metrics of all the other receivers in the league.
No,
based on the offense that they play in. So
we left out Amara Darboh.
Yeah, on purpose.
Caleb Scott, who has a broken foot.
Okay.
Malik Turner,
who I always forget is on the team.
And Terry Wright.
Sure. I've never heard that name before in my life.
He's an undrafted dude out of Purdue.
Oh, well, good for him.
Yeah.
Good job, Terry. Yeah.
Did I say Jazz Ferguson?
No.
I skipped over him too.
So did I.
He's wearing 87 though, which I feel like that's a number that has served the wide receiving core. Okay. It's a good wide receiver number.
It's one of the right wide receiver numbers. You're right. Yeah.
It's better than 17.
Are we sure?
Yeah. That's not a wide receiver number, dude. We've been over this.
All the teens and all the 80s are wide receiver numbers. They just are.
Caleb Scott wearing number 10. You're telling me that's a wide receiver number?
No, that's a quarterback number.
Terry Wright's wearing 9. I thought they had to be in the teens.
Well, not this point in the season. You can wear single digits until like regular season, I think.
Gary Jennings is 11.
Yeah, I know. That's why I have hopes for him.
You do have hopes?
11's lucky, man. I'm telling you. Just as long as it's not Percy Harvin.
And Seahawks haven't done all that great with 11 either.
Yeah, I know.
All right, dude. What do you say we take a break, come back, and close out the show? Talk a little bit. We got some emails. We got some reviews. We got some stuff to talk about in the back end. And, of course, we've got some do better and better at life.
Perfect. All right, man. Let's do it.
And getting into the second half of the show, we had some big news coming out this past couple weeks, Adam. I don't know if you saw this.
Oh.
The Seagulls, no more. They're now known as the Seahawks Dancers.
Okay.
They changed it.
Yeah, they did. I never was super fond of the Seagulls name, so I guess I'm not mad about it.
Kind of feels like 50s, like, you know, Sea Dames, Sea Broads, kind of in that same kind of category.
Sea Broads, yeah, you get out there and you dance, she. Yeah, no, I don't know.
Seagulls,
that's fine. Yeah,
it's updated.
Great.
This is off-season news. I gotta pick these up where I see them.
No, I get it. Yeah, you're not wrong. You're 100% correct in your report. Yes.
Yeah, when people show up in the preseason in week 1 and they go, and now coming to the field, the Seahawks Dancers. People aren't going to be surprised now. They'll be like, oh, I listened to the Seahawkers podcast. I know this name change happened.
Yeah.
And now I'm not surprised.
Right.
That's why you listen to the show, especially in the off season. This is critical info.
Right. This is why. Yeah. This is why.
And a couple of people up in their pledge in the off season, based on all this great off season talk. Ryan Fuller upped his pledge to $12.12 a month, gifts him an admission ticket to our Facebook Ring of Honor. So welcome to the group, Ryan.
Heck yeah, man. Is that the same Ryan Fuller from high school?
No, it's not. This Ryan Fuller lives in England.
Oh, okay. Because I saw that he lived in England, but I was like, did Ryan Fuller move to England?
No. He lives here. He still lives here in Kalispell.
Oh, okay.
It's very confusing, though.
It was for us, yeah. We're glad to have you, other Ryan Fuller.
Chris Boucher did the same. Or is it Boucher, like the linebacker from the Adam Sandler linebacker?
That feels right.
Boucher?
That feels right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's also in for $12.12 into the Ring of Honor. Welcome, Kris.
Heck yeah, man. Well, welcome to the Ring of Honor. It's been probably the most fun I've had all offseason, is chatting with all y'all in the Ring of Honor.
Probably this is where people come to get the inside scoop. Like, hey, why is Adam not coming on the show? Why is he doing all this working? You find that out in places like the Ring of Honor in the offseason.
That's where it is, yeah.
So thank you. If anybody else wants to get in the flock, getintheflock.com. As we'll ramp into the season, we'll be getting into our Pick'em League and all kinds of fun stuff for our members of the flock.
Heck yeah, man. It's going to be awesome.
Right, we're going to be getting into the late parts of June and early July when we get to start talking about our NFC West rivals. And maybe we'll even throw in some opponents of some upcoming teams of fans that I want to talk to. So yeah, this will be a fun month coming up.
Yeah, for sure.
Got a couple of reviews in, and this one from Scoots18 says, "Catfish the Rams. If you are a true 12, you must tune into this pod."
Hey, Scoots18 knows where it's at because catfish the Rams forever. Catfish them in their sleep. I can't stand them. I hate them. I hope that their stadium, well, it's not even their stadium, burns down and they never play another game. And I hope everybody survives and is fully healthy.
Right. It's just the stadium is empty when it burns down. Nobody gets hurt. Right. But it does force the Rams to
dissolve as a team,
dissolve their franchise. The San Diego Chargers moved back to their rightful home in San Diego.
Yes.
And football in LA is forever forgotten about.
Until the Raiders move from Las Vegas
back to Los Angeles.
Right.
This one from Great Britain says, Hawkers fan for the United Kingdom. Says, you guys cracked me up. Been listening for the past few seasons and you actually talk the truth. Big fan of the show here in London, England. Keep up the great work. Go Hawks.
Awesome, man. Go Hawks. I'm glad somebody thinks that we're truthers.
We're not just blowing smoke.
No, I think we more or less know what the hell's going on.
Michael B. Walters says, transplanted Hawks fan. I'm a Hawks fan that has been transplanted from the Pacific Northwest to Texas. I'm a veteran of the U.S. Army. This podcast is so good for a fellow Hawks fan. It's a pleasure to listen to a Seahawks podcast that lives in reality and has an educated point of view. Brandon and Adam are the perfect duo to talk Hawks. A must listen every week.
Awesome, man. Where was he transplanted to?
Texas.
Texas. Oh, that's rough, man.
Yeah,
that's rough. All those Cowboys fans.
I know.
Well, I mean, all those people who pretend to be Cowboys fans.
I feel like we have a pretty good amount of Seahawks fans down there in Texas, though.
Yeah.
I feel like there's enough of a support system that you could get by.
I think Michael Walters will get by. Yeah. And we're here to help. And we appreciate the review, man.
And finally, a review here says, favorite Seahawks content on the web. You guys never fail to disappoint. Keep up the great work. Go Hawks.
Yeah, working on it, man. Today I'm coming from you from the shores of Millie Locks Lake in Minnesota.
Oh,
that
fun.
may or may not be how that's pronounced.
I'm going to guess that it may or may not be.
Yeah, somewhere in there.
Hey, and you know what was cool? This past week or so, I got to welcome Nesby Glasgow back to the show to fill in for you for a week. That was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. That was you did a good job with that interview.
Oh, he's a good guy to talk to. He kind of sprung it on me, the fact that he had stage 4 cancer that he's working through, and so that caught me off guard early on. But it sounds like he's fighting through it. So
you would expect no less from a man of his character.
No.
Yeah,
and that was kind of cool to hear him talk about just kind of historically how he's done well with his health. If he has what it takes to play through the NFL, 14, 15 years.
Yeah,
like you can fight off cancer.
Heck yeah, man.
Jason in Melbourne sends in an email, says, hey guys, Jason here, a freeloader. I haven't committed yet. Wasn't sure if I just got you in a purple patch. I don't know what that means.
No,
it might be an Australian thing.
Sounds like Australian for freeloader. That's what I hear.
Maybe one of the drop bears got to him before he could drop his donation in the mail.
Yeah.
Love the show. And this was my first full season watching every game on the NFL app. I was just a casual follower before my first ever game was the Super Bowl loss. I meant to be at work, but the pub was across the road, so myself and co-worker thought it would be good to check out. Being a Monday morning for us, didn't realize it went for basically our whole workday, but loved it and was gutted by the loss and was a casual follower since. Big Balls Dixon, the Aussie, got me on board and rode the high all the way to the past season. Can't wait for next year. And see, so we ask about the purple patch. He asks about Skip Bayless. Who is he? What did he do? And is he good at life? So being better at life than Skip Bayless, is it really, really good? Or is he a spud? So it's not hard to be better than the old Skip dog.
Ding. He got it in the ladder there.
Yeah. Definitely the latter. He is a spud.
Yeah. A sports commentator, a hot taker.
Yes.
And Richard Sherman took him to task once, and
But not just a hot taker. He is probably, if there's one thing that he's good at, it's probably being the best hot taker on sports talk, which may or may not be a good thing, but he is compensated for being the best hot taker on sports television in the U.S.
Oddly enough, yes. Yeah. Because I'm not sure I would put best next to his name.
Okay. Yeah. I don't know what he is, a professional hot taker.
There we go. Okay. He is somebody who has conned a large organization into paying him a lot of money for making really bad hot takes.
Jason goes on to say, you guys seem to struggle without football. Maybe in your off season, you can watch some AFL, Aussie Rules football. It basically fits in the NFL off season, so you can follow footy all year long.
Yeah, well, we could. I do struggle without the football, but I also am good without the football. Turns out I got other things to do.
I thought maybe it would be a good thing having some football after, like we did with the, what was it, AFL?
Yeah, it's the other AFL.
It's not the Aussie Rules football, but the American.
The Alliance.
AFL. Alliance, that's right. See, I've already forgotten about it. But next year we're going to have the XFL. And I am a little bit, now at least with the XFL, we'll have a Seattle franchise. And Jim Zorn's going to be the coach, so it's going to make it, I think, a little more compelling to tune into. Kason Williams trying out for the Dallas franchise, and with him being my favorite former Seahawks receiver.
Sure, yeah. Look, I'm going to give the XFL probably less excitement as I did the Alliance, only because I've been burned by the XFL before. So,
and now you've been burned by the AFL.
Right, so I don't. Once a coincidence, twice is a trend. 3 times could be a springtime football problem.
But here's the thing: Pete Carroll didn't do all that great his first time around as an NFL coach. Yeah. So maybe the XFL, they just needed. Now they've grown and learned from that first experience.
Cool. And I hope so. And I'll believe it when I see it.
What not to do this next time.
Yeah, I'll believe it when I see it.
Well, big thanks to Jason for writing in. And I'm glad we've got some Aussies on board. I think Michael Dixon is helping out with this.
Oh, absolutely. We have a decent Australian audience before Michael. And he's helped bring more of you along. So
we'll have to make an Australia trip at some point, even though they probably won't play there. I think just watching a game from Australia with the Aussies would be fun.
I'm in.
Yeah, make that happen.
Yeah.
On to do better and better at life.
All right. My do better this week is for Alexa. You know who she is, and I'm probably like half of you are listening to this. All your houses went off like all at once, right? Because that's like the magic word that makes the magic robot genie in the middle of your house that's spying on you, like, start to record you, or so you think.
Uh-oh.
This thing is the root of all evil, man. I don't understand it for the life of me how somebody invites a spy into their own home. Ask she who shall not be named. Ask her if the CIA is spying on you. KG.
The answer is not very strong.
No.
Say, I want a yes or no answer on this one. This is important.
Then ask the CIA if they're using Alexa to spy on you. Still cagey. None of this is good. And then, so the lady friend has 2 of these at her house, and she had them talking to one another like they were in cahoots, communicating to one another, to where, at some point during the day, as they're sitting watching TV, the smart plug starts talking and nobody knows where it's coming from. This thing is going to kill people. I don't care. It's terrible. Do not have it in your house. I don't trust it for a second. And she tried to bring it into my home. And I said, no, there will be no Alexa in my home.
Now, there's one thing that I think you should consider doing just as a safety. There is a button to turn off the microphone. And so...
Bullcatfish! 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 There's no way that button works. There are dozens
you think
of
that's
stories
just a button
of people
to turn on the red light, so it's actually listening but ignoring you,
or the red light doesn't come on and it's still listening to you.
Well, the red light comes on when I press the button.
The amount of data, and then not only that, but let's just take the idea of like it knows when you generally go to bed and turn the lights off. Like it records that every night, right? And Amazon sells that freaking data.
How would it record when your lights turn off?
Because it's all hooked up to your smart home, and you say, "Hey, she should not be named. Turn the bedroom off," and like the lights go off.
Well, that's just being lazy.
Well, yeah, get a clapper. It doesn't record all this information and send it to Amazon. This is an invasion of privacy. This should not happen in this world. This is the start of Skynet and Amazon. Do better.
I feel like this one's come up before.
I don't know. I don't like it.
I think you've taken your wrath out on she who shall not be named before.
Whatever. I don't like her.
I like how her and Voldemort are kind of in the same namespace now.
Yeah. That's not by accident, buddy. All right. Who's better at life?
My better at life this week is for all of the Seahawks legend who showed up at the Seahawkers annual banquet this past weekend. Kenny Easley showed up with his gold jacket, had Marcus Trufant back in the house, a number of other guys, and had Michael Dixon there to receive his Rookie of the Year award, Adam.
Sweet. You
and I didn't get a chance to go this year, but we have been before, and it is really cool that so many Seahawks players, so many former Seahawks players show up to this. Joe Tafoya was there as well, and we had him on the show. Gosh, back in I think he was episode 12 that we had Tafoya on the show. So
yeah,
cool to see him there and taking pictures with all the Seahawks fans in attendance. And just for all the former Seahawks players, especially Hall of Famer Kenny Easley showing up, all of you better at life than Skip Bayless.
I agree. It's always a cool event, and it's awesome that they're having such a great poll with all the former players and everything. That's awesome.
I just really like that Big Balls Dixon showed up to accept that Rookie of the Year award.
Heck yeah, man. That's awesome.
This year, Rookie of the Year. Next year, Team MVP.
There it is. And I think with that,
there's only one thing left to say.
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks. And as we get on out of here, let's thank our supporters for the month of June.
Keith Ketover, a.k.a. Flocktimus Prime, University of Cybertron, Little Flockers, Roll Out.
DCH from Sparks, Nevada, the University of Montana Grizzlies.
Annalisa Mickelson, a.k.a. Mrs. Doug Baldwin, New York, New York, undergrad, University of North Carolina, Greensboro, graduate school, Brooklyn College.
Eric Trench, rooting for the Seahawks out of Renton, Washington, graduated from Eastern Washington University.
Gary Blum from Chappaqua, New York, and the University of Pennsylvania, your 2016 Pick'em League champion.
Ron Pepper, UNLV Runnin' Rebels, San Francisco, California.
Tickety boo! This here is Hong Kong Hawk, it is, from Hawkfordshire Meadows, just north of Chelsea, yeah?
Kevin Stedgen, Keene, Texas.
Ella Esparza, Woodway, Texas, Yale University, and Sam Houston State, Eat 'em Up Cats.
Lisa in Seattle.
Sam Sullivan from the wonderful land of Oz, the Fort Hays State University.
Paul from San Diego.
Vincent Parker, Emily Carr, University of Art Design, RN Collective.
Samuel Gelber, NoHo, California.
David Van Cleve, Camas, Washington, home of the Papermakers.
Garrett Strongbanks, Northern Ontario, Georgian College.
Jameson Holman from Murray, Utah, representing Mississippi State University. Hail State and go Hawks.
And continuing the list of supporters at 12 and above, got associate producer Dustin Mock, Ross in Eureka, California, Christina in Manassas, Virginia, Summer in Vancouver, Sven in Berlin, Deutschland, James in Linwood, Roe in Federal Way, Hector in Issaquah, Kevin in Snohomish, Young in Anchorage, Becca in Manhattan Beach, California, Tim in Austin, John Paul in Palmer, Alaska, Kathy in Eureka, California, Joshua in London, Brandon in Winston-Salem, North Carolina, Christian in Bergen, Norway, John in New York, Pepper in Greenville, South Carolina. Jonathan in Ridgefield. Craig in Pasco. Jared in Missoula. Thomas in the Bronx. Glenn in Sanford, Florida. Keegan in Colorado Springs. John in Pierce, Nebraska. Owen in Ashburn, Ireland. Jeffrey in Kansas City. Kari in Rochester. Jeff in Waddell, Arizona. Brian in Berlin, Connecticut. Gary in Kaneohe, Hawaii. Eric in Seattle. Tracy in Kaneohe, Hawaii. Connie in Gothenburg, Sweden. Taylor in South Cle Elum. Brian in Sugar Land, Texas. Mitchell in Roseville, California. Dean in the Greater Hoctum. Marvin in Riverdale, Utah. Brian in the Greater Hoctum. JC in Billericay, England. Lisa in Kelowna, BC. Scott in Fresno, California. Paul in Minneapolis. Seth in Tacoma. Don in the Pacific Northwest. Eric in Clovis, California. Chris in Spokane. Bryson in Eltopia. Shannon in Florida. Andrew in Marysville. John in the Greater Hoctum. Shoko in New York. Greg in Seattle. Ryan in Chatham, England. Ben in Wrexham, Wales. And DK in Ferndale. Thanks to everyone I listed supporting the show at 12 and above. And a big thanks to everyone who is supporting the show in the month of June. It's getting to be that time now where we ramp back up into the season. So looking forward to bringing you more shows through this month and through the month of July. Training camp is right around the corner. Go Hawks!